Welcome to the deep dive. You sent us some really compelling stuff this time.
hmm
Articles, survey data. It all seems to point towards a pretty big shift happening in, how people relate to their jobs.
Yeah, it feels like more than just the usual ups and downs, doesn't it?
Exactly. It feels, I don't know, deeper, more
Well,
fundamental.
absolutely. And the sources you gathered, they really capture this idea that's being called the Great Detachment. It seems to resonate with a lot of what people are feeling right now.
The Great Detachment.
Oh, okay. That sounds significant. Let's dig into that. What are we actually talking about here? It's
Yeah.
not just another wave of resignations, is it? Like the Great Resignation.
Right. Good question. No, it's different.
Yeah.
While, the Great Resignation or even quiet quitting was more about behavior actually leaving or just doing the bare minimum, this Great Detachment is more about what's going on inside.
Okay.
It's this creeping sense of discouragement, resignation almost, especially, it seems, among younger employees.
It's a mental thing, an emotional withdrawal. Exactly. People pulling back mentally, emotionally.
Mhm.
And it seems to be driven by things like burnout. Yeah,
Mm.
but also maybe a lack of clear career growth
Right.
or just feeling like the work isn't meaningful.
Right. Like, what's the point? Kind of feeling. And it's interesting. One source mentioned Gallup picked up on this trend even before last Christmas.
Yeah, that suggests it's not brand new. It's been brewing for a while, perhaps.
Which makes sense when you think about the last, 5 years. It's been pretty chaotic.
Oh, absolutely. Just think about it. The global pandemic, huge political shifts, economic instability.
Hmm.
It's been one thing after another.
Constant disruption.
And that forces organizations to react, right?
Mm.
Restructuring, cutting budgets, layoffs.
Yeah, that cycle feels relentless sometimes. And I remember seeing that stat, something like 73% of employees said their company went through disruptive change just in the past year.
That's the one. 73%. It's a huge number.
Wow.
And Gallup found a clear link, apparently. The more disruption someone experienced.
The more likely they were to feel discouraged and burned out.
You got it. It sort of erodes that sense of stability, that sense of purpose you might look for in your work.
And it's not just the big external shocks either, is it? Like the way we work has changed too. Hybrid models, remote work.
Well, yeah, that adds another layer of complexity. While flexibility is often good, these new ways of working can make communication harder. Coordination gets tricky.
Uh-huh.
And Gallup made an interesting observation that the physical distance we experienced, maybe during lockdowns and things,
It might have led to more emotional distance from colleagues, from the company itself.
that seems to be the idea. You
Yeah.
lose those little informal chats, the, water cooler moments.
Yeah, those small connections that actually build a sense of belonging. It's harder to feel part of a team sometimes.
Right.
But hang on, one article mentioned something almost counterintuitive, that some people are actually like staying put because they feel detached or maybe scared.
Yes, that's a really interesting point. It touches on the fear factor. After all this instability, some employees might be thinking, maybe I should just hang on to this job even if I don't love it.
Because the alternatives seem risky or just not there.
Kind of a perceived lack of better options. So they cling to what they know, even if it's unsatisfying.
And imagine how frustrating that must be if, on top of feeling stuck, your employer then starts pulling back on, say, flexible work arrangements they'd previously agreed to.
Oh, absolutely. That would feel like a real slap in the face, wouldn't it? Adds
Yeah.
insult to injury.
Definitely.
So, yeah, the sources keep pointing back to this undercurrent of discouragement, resignation. People are really starting to question their work-life balance, their career paths, their overall future with their current company.
And we have hard data on this too, right? That My Perfect Resume survey you shared?
Yes, that one was quite striking. Found that 79%, almost 4 out of 5 U.S. employees, reported feeling discouraged and disengaged at work.
79%. That is huge.
It really is. And think about the impact. People mentally checking out, maybe just doing the minimum to get by.
Well, probably looking for other jobs on the side.
Exactly. Which hits productivity, morale, everything.
So, what are the biggest reasons driving this? The survey pinpointed a few key things, didn't it? Low pay was a big one.
Yeah, low pay came up top. About a third, 33% said it was a primary reason for their apathy.
Makes sense.
And it's often not just about the number on the paycheck, right? It's tied to feeling valued. If you feel underpaid, you might feel unappreciated, and that can lead to checking out emotionally. Sort of a defense mechanism.
Totally. Feeling like your effort isn't recognized. What else came up?
A mismatch in values was significant too. That was cited by 23%.
Okay, so nearly a quarter feel their company's values don't align with their own. That seems increasingly important to people.
It really does. People want their work to mean something, to align with their personal principles. If there's a clash, it's hard to stay engaged.
And the third one.
Uh, Unclear expectations for the future. That
Oh.
affected 14%. Just not knowing where things are heading, what's expected down the line, that creates anxiety.
Right. So you've got people feeling maybe underpaid, maybe working for a place they don't fully believe in, and they're unsure about their own future there. Yeah, I can see how that leads to detachment.
It's a potent mix, isn't it?
So given all that, what's the way forward? What are the experts, the sources suggesting companies can actually do about this?
Well, the big theme seems to be communication. Clear, consistent communication about expectations.
Okay.
Gallup's data here was pretty eye-opening. They found less than half, only 45% of employees really know what's expected of them day to day.
Less than half.
Mhm.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
basic, isn't it? How can you do your job well or feel good about it if you don't even know what good looks like?
Precisely. It's fundamental.
Yeah,
And tied to that is connecting the dots for people.
connecting the dots. How so?
Making it clear how an individual's job, their specific tasks, actually contribute to the bigger picture, the company's goals, its mission.
Ah, okay. So it's not just about knowing your tasks, but knowing why they matter.
Exactly. And again, the numbers aren't great. That same Gallup research, only 30% of employees feel their company really values their importance in their specific role.
Only 30% feel important in their job function. Ouch.
Yeah. So there's a disconnect. Leaders need to bridge that gap.
So it's about leaders being really clear about the company values, sure, but also showing how each person's work helps achieve those bigger goals.
That's the recommendation, fostering that sense of contributing to something larger. That builds pride, motivation. It fights detachment.
It really boils down to feeling seen, understood, and valued, doesn't it?
I think so. Knowing what's expected, feeling your work has purpose, and of course being compensated fairly, these seem like the core elements.
And the fact that so many employees feel these needs aren't being met, well, it explains a lot about this great detachment.
It certainly paints a clear picture. And it suggests companies really need to take a hard look at how they're engaging people, how they're communicating, what their culture really feels like day to day.
Okay, so let's quickly recap this deep dive. We're seeing this trend, the great detachment, which is essentially a mental and emotional pulling away from work.
Especially noticeable among younger workers, but likely broader.
Right. And it's driven by a mix of things.
Huh?
The hangover from all the recent disruptions, pandemic, economy, etc.
The challenges of new work styles like hybrid models.
And, crucially, unmet needs around things like clear expectations, feeling like your work actually matters, feeling valued, and fair pay.
Yeah, it's deeper than just high turnover. It's about a sense of discouragement, maybe even resignation,
Yeah.
settling in.
With pretty big consequences for companies and for people's well-being.
Definitely. It impacts productivity, innovation, everything.
So as we wrap up, here's something for you, the listener, to maybe chew on. Considering everything we've discussed about the Great Detachment, what kind of fundamental changes might we need in how we think about work and employee engagement moving forward? How do we counteract this disconnection?
And maybe also, what role do you play as an individual in your own career in navigating or even addressing this within your own sphere?
Lots to think about there. Definitely a multifaceted issue. Thanks for exploring this with us.